Welcome into the Super Mega League Roundup Show. I'm Cohen Jenkins, Commissioner of the League, alongside Joe Paris. Joe, how are we doing today?
We are doing well. Is that what we're going with, the Super Mega League?
Yeah, we couldn't find anything clever or creative, so we're going basic for now. But we are looking for name suggestions for future endeavors, future leagues. So if you have something better, hit me up and we might change it. But Brad made a kick-ass logo, and it has SML in it, so that's what we're rolling.
Oh, well, we already got the logo, then we're good.
Yeah, so Joe, I've been playing the Super Mega franchise for a few years now. I'm in love. I have over 700 hours logged on Xbox.
How many days is that? It's 29 days.
29 days. 29 days
Played
late.
this game for a month.
And, but Joe, you are just starting, and you have just played Super Mega for about a week. What are your thoughts so far?
I love it, and it really, I think other people have said this, so I'm not going to take credit for it. It is the spiritual successor to Backyard Baseball. And Backyard Baseball was my favorite computer game growing up. Pablo Sanchez, the GOAT. Got to get a Pablo Sanchez custom guy in our league.
It's, a backyard. Oh, if someone wants to make a backyard sports custom team, it's their thing.
Keisha Phillips out there.
And Ricky Johnson, I can name every single backyard sports character. I love that franchise so much.
But yeah, it's a fantastic game.
It is. I've played MLB The Show before, and it's all right, but it feels slow and plodding and almost too realistic.
It's too simulation-y to me.
Yeah, whereas Super Mega, it has the roster building, it has the chemistry, it has the actual strategy, but it's just fun and it's quick.
Arcade.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun. It reminds me of being a kid and just playing games. But I also like that the gameplay is really fun and simple and like super easy to pick up. And you don't even have to be a baseball fan. You know, I had my fiance playing with me, and she's like, "Oh, this is just like a Dave and Buster game. Like, it's fun."
Yeah, my roommate Cooper, who will be in the league, had no idea about baseball before, has played almost as many hours of Super Mega as I have now. And now when we watch baseball, he understands what's happening. Oh, he threw a curveball in the dirt. Yeah, that's classic.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good educational tool that I think more people who don't like baseball, I think it'll get them into the sport.
So I like the gameplay. The arcade gameplay is great. But then as you touched on, the franchise mode and the in-depth customization, it just makes the game unlimited. And I know you can do 200 game regular seasons. This game, my internet's been out, and you can play Super Mega Baseball if you don't have internet. I was thinking if I had to pick an offline game, it would be this.
Yeah.
The gameplay's great, the customization, you can get into the character traits, and you can get into signing contracts and building a franchise. To me, it's a perfect sports game.
So let's shift to the Super Mega League. We're doing an interesting format. So what's going to happen is on draft night, we're going to take turns serpentine drafting first one of the original Super Mega League teams, and then choosing 3 of the legends that they added to the game this year to replace 3 of your worst players on that team. So, Joe, what are one of your favorite teams in the Super Mega League that you're potentially looking at drafting if you can?
I've really been playing with the Moonstars, and I really like the Moonstars a lot. Some of the best players on there: Alicia Woodrow, Slip Sauer, Vern Turnberner. They're all pitchers, and that's really what the Moonstars are. Really strong rotation pitching and relief pitching. Also the closer, Lil Bupton. He's a great closer. And then Nance Tools at shortstop is actually a really good fielder to have in a great spot. And then Nance Tools is also a pretty good batter. I think actually he's the highest power contact level on that team. There's also some real great role players like Rusty Bustum, who's been playing super well. Gustav Gustafsson. So I really like the team of the Moonstars. Of course, I did play some sirloin action because you got to play with all the big guns. But the Moonstars, they just fit my play style, and I really like.
You go in for a small ball pitching.
Small ball, yeah, I like that hit and run. The play styles too from each team is very different, and it was something that I didn't know was marketing, or if you get to play, it's very different. And when you play against the computer too, the games are very different.
And that's why I think my favorite team, that one that I'm looking at, is almost complete opposite from the Moonstars, and that's the Nemesis. And they have unbelievable hitting. Jock Sports and Jackie Slam are the hardest 1-2 hitting combo in the league. And then they also have Hito Mushada. I think Jackie Slam has 2 traits too. The traits are going to make such a big difference this year.
Traits are crazy.
Because depending on how you build your team chemistry, you could have a player who in a certain at-bat has 35 better contact and 30 better power just against that pitcher if you build your trait system correctly.
And the trait system is something it's not just super unique to this game. There are trait systems other games, but in a sports game, the RPG style of pushing things together and like having to put together a clean roster with the traits that connect, as you mentioned, which is in the interface there. It's really cool. Like I like the way it works. And in the franchise mode, for example, you can alter traits because there are bad traits too.
Now, here's the moment you may be waiting for. This might be the reason you clicked on the video. We are now releasing the draft order live on this show. I have seen this because I had to write it down, but I did a randomization app on the phone. And so we're going to come in here and we're going to be reading from the last pick to the first pick. So the person who's going to be last, it's bad because they will get last to select their team, but that means they'll have the first pick in the Legends draft. So you'll get a shot at like the better player, if Babe Ruth. All right, so let's read the order right now. Coming in at number 11, Joe Paris. Joe will have the last pick in the draft.
Oh gosh. How many guys are in our team or in our league?
We have 11 people, so Joe is the 11th pick in the draft.
And there are 20 franchises.
And there are 20 franchises. So you still are going to get a pretty decent team. You're not going to get like one of the worst teams. You'll still have a good selection to pick from, for sure.
All right.
Number 10, we have Andrew Parada. Number 9, Eric Allen. Number 8, Daniel Coker. Number 7, Brad Miller. Number 6 is myself. Number 5, Andrew Marriott. Number 4, Will Hyder. Number 3, Cooper Dean. Number 2, Shane Mullern.
Oh, Shane.
And the first pick of the draft is Mike Shea. Gets his pick of teams. And then the hot corner coming around, 2 legend picks in a row. He'll get picks 11 and 12 in the Legends draft. So, Joe, it appears the ball's in your court now.
Oh, no.
I mean, is this a Wemby situation? Do we know who you're going to pick with the first overall pick in this draft?
I mean, there's so many great S-tier guys. It really does depend on who my franchise is. So let's just pretend I get the Moonstars. Okay. Strong rotational pitcher, or it's pitching. The first person I'm going to select is going to be Babe Ruth or Hank Aaron. But if I don't get the Moonstars, and let's say I got the Sirloins, which will not be on the board at 11.
Yeah.
I would go for like, Randy Johnson or something like that. Man, I gotta say, Mike Shea's gonna have a great team.
Yeah, because he can go with the Nemesis, get a lot of power going. He can go with the Sirloins, a lot of power, but a little bit of balance.
And then he gets 2 legends back to back.
And he gets 2 pretty solid dudes in there, so that could be an advantage for Mike. So right now we wanted to take a look at who are 5 players, Joe, that you're really interested in seeing in this game.
When I was playing in my Legends League in Super Mega Baseball, there's been a few different teams that I've experimented with, but the first one was Babe Ruth, because I remember playing MLB 2005 MVP Baseball. Manny Ramirez on the cover.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Babe Ruth was in the game, and you could play at the Polo Grounds. And I remember, like as a kid, being in elementary school, that was the coolest thing ever. Play a video game with Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
So, love the Babe.
And then in this year's game, you can play as a pitcher or as a hitter with him, which didn't used to be the rule. If you had a batter, you couldn't pitch them in Super Mega Baseball 3. And the Babe's stats aren't unreal as a pitcher, but he's a very solid pitcher.
He's a good rotation guy.
And then, he has 99 power, 96 contact. He's going to hit the hell out of the ball.
Yeah, and I really like that they're doing the two-way thing, because you could make a Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the coolest things. When I got to see Ohtani play in the All-Star game, it was just amazing to see him in the home run derby and then the starting pitcher the next day. And it's like, okay, this is a generational talent. So to have that type of guy on a team would be great. So Babe Ruth's fantastic. Yeah. And then you get to play with like Nolan Ryan, maybe the greatest pitcher ever. Yeah. You get to play him in a baseball game. Great stats.
Nolan Ryan's going to be interesting because he has, I think, 99 velocity, the highest velocity in the game, which makes sense. Dude threw like 104 miles an hour, over 100 miles an hour for age 40.
Yep.
He has really good junk. It's like 96 or something like that. But then his accuracy is only 24.
Yeah.
So if you get a little wild with Nolan Ryan, you might not be able to find the strike zone anymore. But if you get hot with Nolan, then you're striking out the side a couple innings in a row.
And the problem with the accuracy is if you have low accuracy and you're like leaving things over the plate or missing, all of a sudden if Hammer Longball has if you were trying to go top left corner and really try to hang him up, and all of a sudden you miss and it's top right in the center, he's gonna hit that 500 feet to center field.
Yeah.
So I like this game too because the traits and the abilities, there's consequences that are real. Like, there are S-tier players, but there are also players as we get further down on the legend list where they're not overpowered, I guess.
Yeah.
So, all right, so Nolan Ryan, fantastic. Cover athlete, Big Papi, David Ortiz.
I mentioned,
It's been too long since I got to see that fat bastard in a baseball video game. I'd love to see him back.
Big Papi, Manny Ramirez and Big Papi were my 2 favorites growing up. It's a bummer that Ramirez isn't in the game. I'm sure maybe we'll get him in. I can build him in.
Yeah, you
So Big Papi, great power. He has to play first base for the most part. Are we doing DHs?
This will be a no DH league. So when the DH was introduced league-wide, I didn't really like it because I think it takes away from the managerial strategy. I was thinking, yeah, it's just like, send your best hitter, worst fielder, put him at DH. But this, you're really going to have to rotate that. And then from also in the online leagues, from game to game, your players will get tired.
Yep.
They will get hot and play better. They will get cold and they will play worse.
And there's injuries?
And there's injuries. You'll have to rotate your starting pitchers. So it won't just be, I send out my top 9 guys every single game. There will be managerial strategy involved.
That's why I like this. It's not just I played a lot of NBA 2K, and you just play.
Yeah.
You get the best players and you just play. There's no chemistry. This is great. So last pick is my birthday buddy, Vlad Guerrero, who Canadian legend. I loved watching him for the Toronto Blue Jays. He has the same birthday as me, I just mentioned. So bad Vlad, like him, and I like his son too.
Oh, his son is a killer. And one of the fun things about the traits is Vlad Guerrero has the trait of bad ball hitter, where he has increased contact and power when balls are outside the zone. That's hilarious because Vlad Guerrero would swing at balls in the dirt and somehow get a single.
The traits are so well done.
Yeah.
With the generated characters or the long-time characters, it's what it is. But with the Major League Legends, there was a lot of thought put into this.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate it. So anyway, that'll be, those are the guys that I've been playing with.
You're interested in, yeah.
There's some great, there's like a Ryan Braun's in there.
Yeah, which is funny.
The Hebrew Hammer.
I didn't think of him as an MLB legend, so when I saw him come up on
As a Brewers fan, Ryan Braun is an absolute legend to me. But so the 5 players I'm looking at, I'm thinking that you got to have some really good pitching, in my opinion, or you're going to get lit up. And the best pitcher in this game is Randy Johnson.
the big unit.
Randy Johnson has over 90 in every pitching category. He has the elite slider category, so that thing will just wipe people out. He's gonna be intimidating. If you get Randy Johnson on fire on a roll, it basically unhittable. Another guy who's gonna be a killer is Goose Gossage.
Yeah.
The 80s, 90s flame-throwing reliever with the Fu Manchu mustache. He has the elite 2-seam fastball trait with 98 velocity, so that thing's just gonna zip up on you at 100 miles an hour. 2-seam, those are really hard to read. It might be a thing where you make contact with it, but you missed it by a bit and it's just a soft grounder every time.
Or a pop-up.
He's going to be a really good player to have. A player I think is going to be a really good value pickup somewhere in the 9-10 pick range is Jeff Bagwell at first base. He has really solid power, really solid contact, and really solid speed. His fielding's not very good, but he plays first base where that doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, like Ortiz.
Yeah, I think he'll be a really solid player to have. And then on the opposite side of that, you got Ozzie Smith, the Wizard of Oz.
Shortstop, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he's was probably the best fielding baseball player of all time by many people's standards at shortstop. Won 14 Gold Gloves. He has 99 fielding, 97 arm. He has the dive wizard and the quick hands trait.
That's huge because dive wizard is actually literal difference between getting an out or not.
Yes.
There are players that will never be able to get a ball up the middle. Ozzie up the middle, and that's where a lot of the infield hits go to, is right up the middle.
A ton of hits are right up the middle or through the gap between shortstop and third,
Or
and
into
Ozzie's going to cover a lot of that.
Pitcher getting hit in the head too is hilarious.
Yes.
And there's a trait,
Metalhead.
metalhead, where you get hit and they're fine.
Yeah.
In terms of the draft, we're also drafting stadiums,
Yes.
which is huge because the stadium layouts.
Are wildly different.
If I want to pick, because I've been playing the Moon Park Stadium or Moonstar Stadium, and I think it's called the Big Outside or Big Sky Stadium.
Oh,
I
Big
think.
Sky, yeah.
It's huge. So
Yeah.
as a home stadium, when I'm playing as the Moonstars, it's fine because I'm hitting a lot of singles, doubles into the outfield.
You probably have outfield speed on that team too. But if you got some slow power hitting outfielders, so like a Willie Mays in this game is pretty slow, and he's covering a big park, that's going to turn some doubles into triples. All right, so a reminder: the draft is going to be Wednesday, June 14th. That'll be, I believe, at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Mountain time. So make sure to be there for that. We'll do a Zoom call for all that stuff. And then even before that, start designing your team. Start designing characters, start designing a logo. Really get a feel for that team so that everyone is ready by July 1st for opening day. And then the thing is, if everyone gets their teams in, gets ready, 2 days after the draft, we can start the season whenever.
Yeah.
So the faster you do this, the more into it you are, the faster we'll get it going. So yeah, get excited. I mean, this is coming out. I've never really done anything exactly like this before, but I think it's gonna be really fun. What are you excited about?
Well, I think as kids, this is what you dreamed of doing. And I think until fairly recently, the technology just hadn't got there where we could do these, multiple year, big time fantasy drafts. Like when you played backyard baseball as a kid, you dreamed of be like, oh, I wish I could play with all my friends.
Yes.
It was before online gaming. I remember we had the dial-up modem, whatever. But this is great. I'm really excited for this. First, we'll also talk a lot about the league, but I also just like learning about Super Mega Baseball.
So for Joe Harris, I'm Cohen Jenkins. This has been the Super Mega League Roundup Show. Play on.